I like having fun on this program, so I'm going to emulate my best SpongeBob fish impression. You ready? Breaking news! Another Alabama player has entered the transfer portal amid the retirement of Nick Saban. How many more times are we going to hear that headline over the next several weeks? We've already watched as Isaiah Bond, Amari Niblack, Caleb Downs, and Caden Proctor all enter the portal over the last week. Now, Julian Sayin is saying see you later to Alabama because he also is entering the portal. Why is Sayin making this move? Where does Alabama turn from here? And is this where the panic button is at an all-time high? Why don't we go ahead and discuss? But if you are new here, well, welcome on into the channel, people. My name is Cole Thompson. I'm a radio show host based in Houston, and I talk college football daily. I get it. The clock strikes 0-1-2023. We got to look ahead to 2024, but I'm not going to stop making content throughout the offseason. We got live shows ahead. We're recapping 2023, looking ahead to what's entering the transfer portal, and a bunch of other content. So if this is your daily fix that you need to survive the dreaded offseason of college football, might suggest you hit that subscribe button down below. Leave a comment telling me your thoughts on Julian Sayin departing Tuscaloosa. Tell your friends, your family, your mortal enemies, your best of bros, the drunk dude passed out in a Waffle House parking lot, Alabama faithful and college football aficionados everywhere about this channel, because we are on the race to become the #1 YouTube show talking college football daily. Go ahead and follow me on social media at Mr. Cole Thompson. That way, conversations surrounding our favorite sport never have to stop flowing. Okay, so Julian Sayin is already on campus. This is not a kid who was committed to Alabama and was going to show up in the summer and be late to the party. No, he's moved his life from California all the way to the Southeastern Conference. He's in classes. He's getting ready for spring football. And now he's getting ready to depart Tuscaloosa, enter the transfer portal, and hopefully fight for the battle of QB1 elsewhere. Now, why make this decision? Why make this call knowing what's coming in terms of offensive consistency? You know who your next head coach is. You know who your next offensive coordinator is. And you know that there's something there that you could attach to. But it all goes back to the same thing. People commit to people. It's one thing to be able to wear that script A on your jersey and the number on the side of your helmet. It's one thing to play in front of the bright lights of Bryant-Denny Stadium and be a part of the ambiance and the culture that resides in Titletown on Saturdays. And it's one thing to be a part of a program known for its consistency and its dominance through 17 seasons. But you didn't commit to Kalen DeBoer. You didn't commit to Ryan Grubb, and you didn't commit only to Alabama. You committed to Nick Saban, and you committed to Saban's staff. You committed to Tommy Rees. You committed to the offensive personnel. Those were the people that were residing inside of your home on weekends. They were the ones making the phone calls every single afternoon. They were the ones checking in on you, looking at your stat line, your health status, what's been going on in your life. They've been the ones prepping you to take the field at Bryant-Denny Stadium on Saturdays. And they're not here anymore. So as much as it's important to remember you commit to a program, you are hell-bent on representing your school with pride, distinguished honors, you also commit to people. And so for a guy like Sayin, he moves his entire life all across the country. He's from the West Coast down to the Southeast. He's expecting to play for Nick Saban. Saban's not there anymore. He's still around, but he won't be the one calling the plays. He won't be the one inside the huddle at practice. He won't be the one talking to you about your future. And so when you move your entire life and you're committed to somebody and then they leave immediately, situations change, opinions change, your priorities change, and now you have to do what's best for you. And sometimes that means opening up your re-recruitment and going to where you think you are going to thrive best. Now, for Alabama, here's the main thing. This sucks. This absolutely sucks because you're already losing Caden Proctor, you're already losing Caleb Downs, and you're already losing Isaiah Bond, who were going to be staples for next season and probably even a little bit further past that. But this one sucks because this is a quarterback that's special. This is a kid that could lead your team to a college football playoff, a conference title, a national championship with the right coaching. And here's the sad part. This is the right coaching. I would trust my son to go play for a lot of coaches in college football. But if I am looking to develop myself as a quarterback, as a name on the come up, as somebody who could be that difference maker at the game's most influential position, I look at what Ryan Grubb has done, not just with Michael Penix Jr., but also with a guy like Jake Haener down at Fresno State. And I say to myself, proof of concept is there. They understand this position better than most. They understand exactly what needs to happen in this game for me to be successful. And there's a track record that multiple quarterbacks can work and thrive in this style of offense. I want to be here. In fact, the one position that I didn't think Alabama would have to worry about was the quarterback position. And technically, they still really don't because of what's on staff right now. You still have Jalen Milroe there. You still have Lonergan. You still have a ton of other talent inside the building. You're in a very good spot when you're Alabama looking at the quarterback room. And you brought in one of your own guys, Austin Mack, a kid who decommitted from Washington, who was on campus, is now headed down to Tuscaloosa. And that's one of DeBoer's guys. And so Sayin's probably thinking to himself when he's looking at this, well, I'm already behind two quarterbacks on the roster, Ty Simpson and Jalen Milroe. Lonergan's still here. And now they're bringing in Austin Mack, a guy that they know, a guy that they self-scouted, and a guy that committed to them when they were part of the Huskies, not a part of Alabama, not a part of the SEC, not a part of this brand culture that we talk about like it is life and death. He committed that. And so now where do I sit in this category? Where am I on the pecking order? Do I have a shot of actually seeing action in 2024, 2025? Or am I going to be sitting here for 2 years, not developing with my on-field reps, thus hurting my chances of going pro by 2027? Is that the way that it's going to go? And so you have to look at it and say, well, it's hard to disagree. I am not a fan of the way that the transfer portal is working right now because of this doesn't happen if Nick Saban doesn't retire right after the college football playoff. If Nick Saban doesn't retire last week, if he makes it known and clear that he's leaving in November or December, and Alabama at this point is getting ready for another bowl game, not a college football playoff, this doesn't happen. You go through and you know who your next head coach is going to be. You're able to retain a lot of recruits, and a lot of players are going to have time before they make the decision to enter the portal. Well, now they have to do what's best for them. And then exactly when you talk about this, when it comes from a, well, let's just feel things out type of persona, it works in theory. It really does. You can easily go ahead and say, I'm going to stay through spring practice. I'm going to go ahead and work my ass off. I'm going to see if this offense complements my skills and if I'm actually going to thrive and prosper here. But at the same time, if you enter the portal in the second wave, an area where I think Alabama is going to clean up like no one's business. They are basically going to take every scrap on the table and put it together and make a roster that I think is going to still be bountiful because it's Alabama, people. It's always still Ala-freaking-Bama. Their entire recruiting classes the last 2 years have been top 3. And in some cases, they've been number 1. So that's the type of talent that's residing in T-Town right now. That's still there, unproven, but still there. But when you look at saying, if I stay, there may be an offer for me right now. There may be an offer for me from a premium school where I know I'm going to fight for QB1 reps and I'm going to get as much attention as possible to be able to build my relationship with the offense, with the personnel, with the coaches, to where I can feel confident going into next season being that starter. Or I can wait. I can see if I work here. I can see if this is a very good fit for me. And if it's not, well, then I don't know what my options are. Maybe it's only a Central Michigan. Maybe it's only a Florida Atlantic. Maybe it's only an Auburn. Maybe it's none of these schools that I really want to attend. And I'm already behind. One of the biggest downfalls, I think, for a place like Auburn last year, even though I am not the biggest fan of Peyton Thorne, the way he plays this game, the fact that Thorne transferred in after spring practice, I think really hurt his chances of developing that relationship with the offense. And ultimately, that led to them finishing 6-6 during the regular season. So that's the way that I view the second wave of the transfer portal. You're not promised anything. Here, you're promised at least an opportunity, and there'll be a ton of schools that are going to be interested in him. I would absolutely believe he's going to look at the West Coast, USC. I wouldn't be shocked if UCLA kind of finds their way into the mix. If he really wants to go and stay outside of California and still build a relationship at a prominent program, I think Ohio State might make a little bit of sense. I would not be shocked to see Michigan, even though they really like Alex Orchie, go out and maybe bring in a Julian Sayin because they understand they need to be building for the foreseeable future and the immediate future. And maybe just having this quarterback competition does wonders for the locker room. It brings that hyper aggressiveness and you carry over that persona of being the underdogs and still the top dogs at the same time in college football. Like, it's a weird conversation, but maybe they get in the mix. But if you're saying he had to make this move, if he does not think he is going to be a part of this team for the long run, and Austin Mack is coming in, and you don't know if you entirely trust this offense, you got to do what's best for you. And for Alabama fans, I'm still telling you, don't hit the panic button yet. You have a staff. The staff is very good. The staff is very growing. It's going to be important for them to win on the recruiting trail, but at this point, Your entire process is re-recruiting. It's about telling those kids, those players, those studs that you know can be difference makers from the jump, don't leave. You want to be here. This is not about playing for Nick Saban. This is about playing for Alabama. This is the type of team where you're able to go ahead and prove to the world we are the dominant force in college football, and we still can be. That's your job right now if you are the staff at Alabama. But I'm not ready to hit the panic button because if the second wave of the transfer portal, that is going to see surplus of talent leave. Quality talent. Jordan Addison was one name that came out. Pitt leaves during the spring, goes to USC, ends up being a first-round pick and a pretty decent number 2 wide receiver at the next level. That's the way that you have to look at the transfer portal now. I think Sayin could make a lot of moves. I think Sayin could be an elite quarterback. He just won't be in Tuscaloosa. But if you think that Austin Mack can be special, and according to people that I've spoken to in Seattle about him, he can be a guy, and he already understands the offensive concept and is bought in, I feel confident right now. Everything that we talk about with Alabama does not need to be gloom and doom. It needs to be real, needs to be honest, needs to be truthful. It is a dark time in Tuscaloosa because of these are unknown waters you're treading into. You haven't been at this world of college football, but the rest of college football has. So welcome to the party. This is the new norm. This is what happens when you lose an elite coach. Doesn't mean, though, Alabama needs to treat this like it is the end of society and the days are getting darker by the moment. Still a lot of positivity. And for Julian Sayin, a lot of positivity for him. Sometimes you just commit to people. And the people that were in Tuscaloosa when Sayin said yes are now out. So he has to say, and I hate to make this joke. No, I don't. See you later, alligator. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching that video. Don't hit the X button yet. Make sure you hit subscribe to keep up with all of our daily content found on Just Saying It and anything else that we post on this channel. Bye.